A lot of people decide not to put any thought into planning their financial future because they think, what is the point if the markets can crash? A lot of them wonder, what's the point of doing anything when there can be instability in the government, or there can be a change in market sentiment, or there can be some sort of macro change that they can't control. And so a lot of people say, well, what's the point of planning, and what's the point of putting any type of plan in place, when the reality is I'm not guaranteed anything. When I used to assist people in developing their wealth plans, I would sometimes get the question, is this guaranteed? Is this guaranteed to work? And the way I would address this is by changing their paradigm around how they need to look at their financial future. I would tell them that, look, nothing is guaranteed in the world, but you need to understand the concept of probability versus possibility. Anything is possible. Anything can happen. But what is probable? Well, what is probable if you really look at the history of the human race? If you really look at the history of capitalism, if you look at the history of economic growth in most developed countries and developing countries, the history tells us that over a period of time, the human race progresses. There is an improvement in disruptions and innovations, and more companies come up and more products and services are delivered, and there is a general improvement in the standards of living that are brought about through capitalism. And in the short term, the financial markets can be quite volatile, but in the long term, if you actually go back and look at the history, despite the ups and downs in the short term, the trend is usually up as long as people are not speculating. One of the ways I explain the difference between possibility and probability to people is by explaining to them that if they don't plan their financial future, the probability of them achieving their financial goals may only be 5 or 10%. However, if they plan their financial future, they understand and stick to financial fundamentals and proven strategies, and they do not make the common mistakes, their probability of achieving their financial goals may be as high as 80 or 90%. In both situations, there is no guarantee, but one situation clearly provides a much higher probability of achieving the desired outcome. And that's why they have to look at that and understand the merits of planning. Now, certainly there are a lot of things you can't control. You can't control if there is any type of change in market sentiment, change in the fiscal and monetary policy that a government may introduce. You can't control what happens in the general economy with inflation rates or with market crashes. But that doesn't mean that you have no influence over your financial future. For starters, you can influence your skill set. You can develop the type of high income skills that are transferable across many industries and allow you to be able to influence your income. You can definitely influence your cash flow through proper budgeting. You can make sure that the allocation that you have towards living and lifestyle expenses is not so much that you have nothing for your future. You can influence how you protect the financial risks that you have through an understanding of risk management and through the purchase of insurance policies. You can influence to a great deal the wealth that you create by choosing good investments that have proven fundamentals and not speculate. So whilst there are things that we cannot control, we need to focus on the things that we can control and influence. And that's how people become financially successful, rather than spending their time worrying about the things that they can't control, and rather than worrying about possibilities. Financially successful people, they influence and control what they can control. And instead of thinking about possibilities, they look at maximizing their probabilities.